Welcome back to the news at 10. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reiterated its commitment to conduct free, fair and credible rerun elections in Kogi State. The resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Samuel Usman, gave this assurance while speaking at a stakeholders meeting at the INEC headquarters in Lokoja, the state capital. After the February rerun elections in Kogi State, the State East Senatorial, as well as the State House of Assembly elections were declared inconclusive following reports of ballot box snatching and other malpractices. The National Electoral Body is gearing up to conduct a repeat of that rerun election and wants to avoid another cancellation. This is the reason it has convened this meeting of political parties, civil society organizations and security agencies. The parley begins with a plea from the Residential Electoral Commissioner to all parties to cooperate with the body for credible results.
I have to indicate and meet with you to get the assurance that the rerun election in the affected areas will be held peacefully. Otherwise, we will keep on waiting and we will not have our members representing us in the various assemblies.
The acting state director of the National Orientation Agency mentioned some pitfalls to avoid.
Last election, INEC rely on this NURTW, this drivers union, for the use of their vehicle. At times, the vehicle broke down on the road. What do we do? So all these are things that were not budgeted for, not prepared for.
The floor is now open for more participation, and the APC representative complains of non-inclusion, while others blame security agencies for electoral problems.
By the time you exclude one party that's vital to election from contesting, you're already making room. You're already creating room for violence. We want this issue addressed here.
You have a House of Assembly election that we know you have a candidate, and this election is going to hold same day concurrently. So you are participating. You are only in view of the senatorial.
Though the meeting is for all parties to agree ahead of the elections, for which a date has not yet been set, the APC representative, not satisfied with INEC's explanation, refuses to sign the resolution. Infrastructure, agriculture and power are to receive priority attention in the implementation of the 2016 budget by the federal government. This assurance is coming from the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, while meeting with members of civil society organizations who have expressed worry over the implementation of the budget. The minister also listed education and housing as the other sectors the federal government has decided to focus on this year.
It's over 1 month since the passing of the 2016 appropriation bill by the National Assembly and the assent into the bill by the President. But some members of the civil society organizations are concerned about its implementation. Some of them in this meeting are especially concerned with how the federal government will implement the 30% earmarked for capital projects.
One thing that really worries us on a yearly basis is the poor capital budget implementation. By our own analysis, capital expenditure performance in this country has not been up to even 30% over the years. It has not been up to 30%. And we worry, why does this have to be so? And that's why we want to put more beam light, not just on the just record, but on the capital expenditure.
However, the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning assures the gathering that government will give priority attention to infrastructure, agriculture and power during the implementation of the budget.
Even in priority areas, we will select a few of the most important areas and monitor up to the impact level. But I hope you understand that monitoring on impact is not done on a quarterly basis. Depending on the project, it could be done annually or biannually. That will include infrastructure, broadband networks, power and housing, agriculture, health, education.
A total of 6.06 trillion is appropriated for the 2016 fiscal year by the federal government, with over over 2 trillion deficit to be financed by borrowing and recoveries from looted funds. 30% of that budget is also earmarked for capital projects. The Acting Director General of the Bureau for Public Procurement says government will save over 40 billion naira to finance capital projects of electronic purchasing system in its offices.
We have a projection that if we adopt electronic procurement system, we are going to save about 48 billion naira. We are going to save 48 billion naira in 2016.
The 2016 budget is referred to by the government as a budget of change, but analysts say the change the budget proposes depends so much on its implementation.
One of the benefits of the planned school feeding program by the federal government is its capacity to stimulate local agriculture support scheme. In addition, the initiative is expected to boost the human capital development in the education sector. This is according to Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed, who has lauded the program while urging his counterparts to key into the scheme. Governor Ahmed was speaking to State House correspondents in Abuja.
Joining the scheme is by choice, and if any state feels that it has an alternative program, it could come up with it. But for us, it's not just being seen as a campaign thing. It's a thing that has been thought out properly, structured, and currently being implemented to meet up with our current support for educational sector in our human capital development program as a party and as a government. So it's by choice that any state feels that they want to key into it or not. The sweet thing about it is that it's a double-edged thing because it serves as stimulating the local agri support scheme, because don't forget that the feeding is supposed to come from foodstuff that is produced within that environment, which automatically stimulates the demand in that sector, from that sector, from that section of the country. So for us, it's the double-edged sword thing that allows us to stimulate agriculture and get it used for feeding at the basic level is a fantastic one. So we'll look at it and we'll also key in as a state.
Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed. Well, let's take the day's business news now with Anne Wawudu.
Welcome to the world of business. The FMDQ OTC Interbank Forex market has been scheduled to take off on Monday, June the 20th. Now, while trading will take effect at 9 a.m. through to 2 p.m. Nigerian time, the central bank is expected to make some intervention on FX supplies in the market. The launch arrangements put together by the FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange shows that Nigeria's 25 commercial banks will also commence trading on the platform, as well as Thomson Reuters trading system. Analysts expect the currency market to take off on a modest note following the new system to be monitored by foreign investors. Meanwhile, viewers are encouraged to watch the live trading action on Channels Television between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. as Nigeria makes history. Fitch International Ratings has reacted to the CBN's adoption of a flexible foreign exchange regime. The rating agency believes that this policy will support economic growth and make up for lower oil export receipts. However, Fitch is very concerned about the fact that the inability to clear a significant portion of backlog of unmet dollar demand, estimated at around $4 billion, may hinder the effectiveness of the new framework. Fitch is also of the opinion that the CBN will probably have to deploy a large portion of its international reserves during the first few weeks of implementation. The rating agency says it will further assess the implications of the new exchange rate policy on Nigeria's economy, and that's as part of its new next review of the country's BB negative sovereign rating. Meanwhile, the effect of the central bank's announcement on the currency reforms continued at the currency market on Friday. The naira firmed to 355 to the greenback on the parallel market. At the interbank market, the local currency weakened to 199.25. Analysts at Cadras Capital expect the naira to depreciate to a market-determined rate in the interbank market as the new forex regime commences on Monday. Interbank overnight rate fell 250 basis points to 1.5%. That happened on Friday. It was driven by excess liquidity, prompting the central bank to mop up the naira at higher rates to support its new currency regime. Banking system credit opened at 1.06 trillion naira, compared with 401.72 billion naira last week. The excess liquidity prompted the central bank to sell 205.9 billion naira worth of one-year bills on Friday at 13.5%, compared with the secondary market rate of 10.81%. An average yield expanded in the bond market by 36 basis points to 13.38%. That's from last week's 13.02%. Trading was very cautious ahead of this week's bond auction, even though the release of the high May inflation number was met with market reaction. At the FGN bond auction, the Debt Management Office sold 22 billion naira, 40 billion naira and 50 billion naira of the February 2020, January 2026 and March 2036 bonds. There are other respective stop rates of 14.2%, 14.4% and 14.9%. The unveiling of guidelines and the framework of the new flexible exchange policy rate by the central bank pushed the key broad index to 158-day high of 29,247.27. That's after increasing by 7.40%. Market capitalization climbed to 10.04 trillion naira. Total volume traded surged to 2.15 billion shares, worth 20.39 billion naira, and traded in 24,369 deals. Market breadth turned very positive, with 44 gainers, led by Champion Brewers with 27.31%, and that's against 23 losers, led by GlaxoSmithKline with 21.91%. Banking stocks dominated market activities as UBA maintained the lead by volume, pulling 572.77 million shares. And those are the that's it on Business News Tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu.
LG Electronics has introduced another innovative product into the Nigerian market, the 22.4 watts LG Cool Smart Inverter Refrigerator. Now, LG Electronics says the low energy consuming refrigerator will end all the troubles of preserving food items which go bad owing to poor electricity supply.
Nigerians who own refrigerators desire to have them stay cool to preserve food items and drinks. But as the frequent power failure in the country continues, many have had to keep their refrigerators empty to avoid rotten foods. But LG Electronics has come to save the situation with a 28.4 watts refrigerator that can run alongside 3 other electronic products like the air conditioner, television and sound system on a power generator with a running capacity of 1.5 kVA.
When the power goes off, the LG EverCool Smart Inverter Refrigerator automatically switches to inverter on mode, which is detected by the change in input with the help of MyCom, which is a mini computer and it's inbuilt. The compressor of this refrigerator is one of the most advanced and energy efficient compressor in the world. A refrigerator consumes anywhere between 300 to 600 watts. But now let me tell you how much this refrigerator consumes. This refrigerator consumes only 28.4 watts. Yeah.
LG EverCool Smart Inverter Refrigerator has a 10-year warranty with a cost of between 170 to 200,000 naira.
There is no compromise on quality. LG never compromise on quality. LG always pay the attention for pain points of the customer and come up with the innovative solutions to satisfy them. Plus point of this refrigerator is, as it consumes less power, it can work with your inverter or solar. So there is no, you can just avoid the harmful fumes of generators.
With this latest innovation from the LG family, life, of course, is good.
Life is indeed good. Still ahead on the news at 10, the International Olympic Committee supports the decision of the IAAF to uphold Russia's ban from international competition. That's on Sports News. Please stay with us.